Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam everyone. So today we'll be looking at the 15th verse from the Bhaja Govindam, which Swami had picked up to give a discourse on during the 1973 summer showers. We will go into the verse. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dinajanaya Cha Vittam. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dinajanaya Cha Vittam. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dinajanaya Cha Vittam. We will look at the letters which may cause some difficulty and you have to pay some attention to. If you take a look at the first line, there are no aspirated consonants, so they are all simple consonants, so it should be easy to pronounce. In the second line, the first word is dhyeyam, dha. The first, the dha or half dha, because it's a compound consonant, ud and ya. That ud is the fourth letter in the third varga or third class of consonants, which has to be aspirated. So it should be dheyam. Okay, dheyam. The rest of the line is simple, no aspirated consonants. Okay, Sripati Rupam Ajasram. In the next line also, there are no aspirated consonants. Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam. The last line also is pretty simple, so it should be easy to recite. Let's look at the Pada Vibhaga, or the split of the words where Sandhi was involved. Let's look at that. If you look at the first line, Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram, there are no changes due to Sandhi. But I have put a dash to separate individual words within that compound word. In Sanskrit, the compound word is called samasa. So in this, there are three individual words, Dita, Nama, and Sahasram. So I've just put dash, so it's easy for you to even learn and read. In the next line, Dhyayam stands alone. There's no sandhi involved. In the next line, the next word, there's a sandhi. There are two distinct words, I would say, Sripati Rupam and Ajasram. The Sripati Rupam itself is a compound word, but there are no sandhis involved. Sripati Rupam. And plus a becomes ma. That's how you get Sripati Rupam Majasram. Sripati Rupam plus Ajasram are the two individual words. Okay. In the next line, first word doesn't have any sandhi involved. Second word, there is no change due to sandhi. It's a compound word, Sajjana Sange. And Chittam is a separate word, no sandhi. And the last line also is similar. There are no sandhi related changes. Deyam, Dina Janaya. There are two words, Dina and Janaya. So we'll look at the meaning separately. Chavittam. So there are no sandhi related changes. Okay. So Geyam, Gita, Nama, Sahasram, Dheyam, Shripati, Rupam, Ajasram, Neyam, Sajjana, Sange, Chittam, Deyam, Dina, Janaya, Cha, Vittam. So let's look at the meaning of the words. Geyam. Geyam comes from the word ga. That means to sing. Okay, like Ganam, Gayati, type of words come from that or Ganam. So ga means to sing. So Geyam means that which is to be sung. And that is what is fit to be sung. Okay, so that word ga plus there in Sanskrit there is something called pratyayas. Certain suffixes get added to change the meaning. So Geyam means what is fit to be sung or what should be sung. Both ways you can take the meaning. So what should be sung? Gita and Nama Sahasram. Gita means Bhagavad Gita, or it can also mean song. But we are talking about Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. So what is Govinda's Gita? It's Bhagavad Gita, which the Lord Krishna sang. So Gita is fit to be sung or recited. Nama Sahasra means names. Nama means name. Sahasra means 1,000. So 1,000 names. So Gita and 1,000 names are fit to be sung or they should be sung. The next word line is Dhyayam. It starts with Dhyayam. Dhyayam comes from the word Dhyana. Dhya. So that means to meditate, to contemplate on. Okay. Dhyayam means that is what should be meditated upon. That is the only thing which is fit to be meditated upon. Dhyayam. What is fit to be meditated on? Sripati Rupam. Sripati Rupam. Sripati generally is the Pati means Lord. Shri is all that is auspicious. Many people say Lakshmi is also called Shri. She is wealth. So some have the interpretation Vishnu is Sripati. But the Lord of all auspiciousness, all wealth. Rupam is his form. So the form of the Lord. So the form of the Lord is the only thing which is fit to be contemplated upon or meditated upon. So in this world, our mind dwells on many things, many subjects. But this verse is saying the only thing you should be thinking about, the only thing you should be meditating on is Sripati Rupam, the form of the Lord. That's the only thing we should picture in our mind. The next word is Ajasram. So Ajasram, I don't know if you all remember the Suprabhatam. There is one verse. Deshantarakata Budhastava Divya Murtim Sandarshanabhirati Samyuta Chitta Vritya Vedokta Mantra Patanena Lasanti Ajasram. Lasanti Ajasram. There also that word comes. Ajasram word comes. Jasra means to pause, to stop, to cease. Ajasra means without stopping. Without stopping, without taking a pause. So we should be meditating on the Lord without any stopping. Unceasingly, the form of the Lord has to be meditated upon. The next word is Neyam. Neyam has the meaning of Nayati. Okay, Nayati means which carries, it's not just carrying it and holding it somewhere, taking it. Okay, so that should be carried. Okay, and so you should like Nadya, that which carries and moves, you can say. That which should be carried, what should be carried or what should be held, that way also you can say. Sajjana Sange. Sajjana means Sajjana is made of two words, Sat and Jana. Sat means true or holy. Jana means people. Sange, company. So the company of good people in them. So Sange is a seventh vibhakti or seventh noun form, which means in, on, about, within, all kind of meanings can be derived from that seventh noun form of any nouns. So Sange, in the company of the good people, or on good people, on good people, it should be carried. What should be carried? Chitta. So the mind should be carried in the company of good people. So that means the mind should be fully surrounded, have the company of Sajjana, people who are holy. Okay. Deyam. Deyam is that which should be given. It comes from the word da, like danam, giving. Deyam means that which should be given. What should be given? Dina Janaya. Dina Jana. Dina means weak, poor. Jana means people. Janaya. This is the fourth vibhakti. We have looked at fourth noun form, which means for the poor people. That which should be given for the poor people. Cha means also, and vittam. Vittam is wealth. Vittam is wealth, money, whatever you want to call it. So wealth should be given to poor people. So there are 4 instructions in this verse. These are the things worthy of being done. One is always singing Gita or the names of the Lord, the 1,000 names of the Lord. Dhyayam, the Lord's form has to be meditated upon, contemplated upon, unceasingly, without any break. Neyam Sajjana Sangya, our mind should be carried in the company of the good people. Vittam, money should be given to poor and weak. So these are the 4 instructions which this verse gives. So now let's see what Swami has spoken to explain the meaning of the verse. What is to be sung is the Gita and the 1,000 names. What is to be meditated upon is the form of Sripati. What is to be carried in the mind is the company of the good. What is to be shared is wealth with the weak and poor. That's a summary of this verse. Swami's discourse from Pavitratma Swarupa's students. The disciple who came toward the end of Shankara's work gave this particular verse. In this verse, he describes the prominence, the speciality of the Gita, the speciality of dhyana, the speciality of sacrifice, and the special features that are contained in the 1000 names of the Lord. This is what has been given to us by the last disciple of Shankara in the Bhaja Govindam verses. In this verse, we are told to sing the Gita. Gita is a song. What is the result that we expect out of singing this song of Gita? We will be turned away from the songs that are of a material kind, which fulfill our material desires. We will also be taken away from the lack of peace, ashanti, from which we suffer. Gita is the messenger of God. Gita is like the world's mother. Gita is the support which a devotee very much needs. Gita is also like a stream of the family. It is the essence of Vedanta. Gita is also the song of God. It is a song of Sai as well. Gita is a very sacred thing. It has been said that there are 1,000 names, Sahasra Nama. It is customary in our country, for the sake of satisfaction of various devotees, to regard the Lord as having several different names like Hari, Krishna, and so on. We attribute these names and different forms to the Lord. This is a matter of common practice. In this context, they thought that if you give a particular name to the Lord, some people may feel offended at giving him a chosen name. Therefore, in accordance with what has been stated in the Veda, he has been described as Sahasra Sirsha Purusha. That means we regard him as being everywhere, as being present with 1,000 heads. That simply means it is not figuratively saying that he has got 1,000 names. Any name that you think of will be the name of the Lord. This is the meaning. And in this context, he has been given omnipresence and all the names belong to him. In this verse, there is also a reference to Shripati Rupa. What does this name mean? Some people regard Sripati as referring to Vishnu, and some others say that it refers to Shiva. This kind of controversy, whether this represents Vishnu or Shiva or something else, is just a waste of time. In fact, we know that the Lord is described in so many different ways that he is effulgent light. He represents all that is essential in our literature, in our sound, in the way we talk, and Srimayi is the 8th way of describing the Lord. Shabda Brahmamayi, Characharamayi, Jyotirmayi, Vangmayi, Nityanandamayi, Paratparamayi, Mayamayi, Srimayi. This simply means that there is no particular name and form when we talk of Sripati. It just denotes the divine Atma. We merely use the word Sri to hand in some sacredness to all things which are not sacred. For the eternal, for the immortal, for the permanent truth, we do not have to put this appellation of Sri. Sometimes the human bodies, which we know are temporary and are made up of the 5 material elements, destructible contents, and that they are an illusion, it is only in such cases that we use this word Shri. We also use this to give respect to individuals in this country. This is our practice. Even in the case of Lord appearing as an avatar for the sake of re-establishing dharma, because the body in which he appears is temporary and will stay only for a short time and then disappear from our view, it has become our custom to use this appellation of Shri in such cases also. In the case of Rama, we put the appellation and say Shri Rama. Similarly, in the case of Krishna, we use the prefix Shri and say Shri Krishna. Not only Rama and Krishna, many great people who have come into this world, we address them by using the prefix Shri. This is because they are wearing a body which is not permanent, which is destroyed some day or other. But to give such sacredness to this destructible body, we use this prefix Shri. However, in the case of Shiva, Shankara, and Ishvara, which denote permanency and the permanent aspect, we don't say Sri Shiva, Sri Shankara, or Sri Ishvara. This appellation has no meaning because the Shiva Tattva has no form. It is eternal. It does not take a body. It is always present. Because this Mangala or auspiciousness is permanent and eternal, and whoever is the husband of such a permanent Mangala, he has been referred to as Sripati. The Sri tells us this permanent truth, the unchanging truth, that divinity is only one and there's no multiplicity. You may worship, you may pray either to the form of Rama, Krishna, or Ishvara. This is only for your convenience. But divine is only one. This is what the letter Sri tells us. We are used to saying that Vishnu rides on Garuda, that Shiva rides on Nandi. We talk of Brahma being associated with Saraswati as her husband, and so on. We say many other similar things, thus we attribute so many qualities to these names and forms. This is only to suit our convenience and our own aspect of looking at these different forms and names. When we think deeply in regard to this matter, we will come to the conclusion that it's quite natural and that God will be at the head of all the jivas of all the creation. I'll pause here. Auntie Kanhi has raised her hand.
What does Sri Madi means then? We say like Sri Madi. Does it have anything to do with this also?
Yeah, so what happens is Sri Man and Sri Mati are generally used for people. They come from to the Sri. There is something called Matup Pratyaya. Matup, I was talking about Pratyaya, which is a suffix which is added. So Sri Mat is the root word. Mat means which is full of Shri, Sri Mat. So then when the Sri Mat root word, which is generally in Sanskrit called Pratipadika, when it takes a masculine form, it becomes Sri Man. When it takes a feminine form, it becomes Srimati.
So the meaning of Srimati is?
Srimati means a lady who is filled with Shri.
Oh, thank you very much. I get it. Thank you very much.
That is generally used in terms of people, Sriman so and so, Srimati so and so. It's because we attribute human beings also with divinity.
Divinity. So Sri is actually divinity.
Divinity. Auspiciousness.
So in Sri Lanka, cars were called Sri, no?
Yeah, everything. It's supposed to be auspicious.
Yes, cars were auspicious. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Because they take us everywhere, take us to the destination, keep us safe.
Okay.
So We'll continue with the discourse. It is his responsibility to remain as the leader and carry on along with him this entire creation. When we say Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham, we mean that man is also like an animal. But in ordinary parlance, when we talk of Jantu, we only think of animals or cattle. No, this is not right. This word comes from the root Jan. Whatever is born from the womb of a mother is referred to as Jantu. In this sense, man is also an animal. Whatever is born is a Jantu. In fact, because a rat, because it gives birth to young ones from its womb, is called a Jantu. Another name for animals is Pashu. And one who looks after the Pashus is called Pashupati. The name Pashupati for the Lord comes from the fact that he who is the head, he who looks after all the jivas, is called Pashupati. Pashupati, we think, denotes Ishvara. On the other hand, we think that Gopala is the name given to Krishna. But if you see the meaning of the name Gopala and Pashupati, we see that both of them are the same and they indicate that they are the Lord of all the animals. Today, therefore, we have to learn and understand what is necessary for bringing about a synthesis and unity between these two thoughts. Therefore, without our attaching too much importance to these different names, regard Vishnu as the husband of Lakshmi, regarding Shiva as the husband of Parvati, regard Brahma as the husband of Saraswati, and create these differences. Instead of that, we take one name, Pashala Natha, and we regard that one name as representing all these three forms. The trouble and the distinction will end. This word Pashala Natha, which we suggest we adopt for the Lord, will indicate that he is the head of all the jivas. This is one way of looking at the oneness of all divinity. On the other hand, according to our Purana, just pause, Sister Aruna.
I don't want to miss that at the end, okay? When you go to the previous page, please, what is the meaning of Pasalanatha? Means that is everything kind of?
So, Swami is explaining the word a little later also, but here what Swami is saying, in Telugu, Pashu means one animal. Swami said this Pashu is a Jivatma, every living being is also Pashu. Every animal is also Pashu, the animalityness. Pashu is one singular. Pashulu means plural in Telugu. Pashala means of the Pashus, of animals. Natha means the Lord. Pashala Natha means Lord of all the animals. All the Pashus. So, and all the Pashus means all the Jivas, all the living beings. Pashalanatha. So Swami is giving this name. Pashalanatha is the name of the Lord. Swami is explaining why it's a good name later on, so we'll take a look at it. On the other hand, according to our Puranas, we can also take a meaning for this Pashalanatha, taking the three letters. Pa stands for Parvati. Sha stands for Saraswati. La stands for Lakshmi. He is the Natha of all the three. That is, the Lord is the Natha, Lord for Parvati, Lakshmi, and Saraswati. Saraswati and Lakshmi. Thus, we bring into one and completely synthesize all three. We may now ask the question, what about the differences and distinction between the Vahanas? That's the vehicles. We have accepted that one Vahana is Garuda. One Vahana is Nandi. One Vahana is Hamsa. Here, how are we to reconcile this? We can reconcile this. If we do not make such a distinction in the names, but accept the Vihanga Vahana, then all the three will be covered. V stands for Vrishabha Nandi. H stands for Hamsa, and Ga stands for Garuda. The synthesis and oneness has come about in this Vihanga. So Pashalanatha has Vihanga as his Vahana. As Swami has said, that's the way we should look at. Look, today we should not give place to any differences or distinctions. We should regard all religions, all gods, all destinations as one and the same. It is in this context, in order to bring out this oneness, that the disciple of Shankara used the word Sri Pati Rupa. In these words, another word, Sajjana Sangham, has been used. What does this mean? There is a recognition of the fact that it doesn't matter how many pujas you may perform, how many pilgrimages you may perform, many temples and centers you may visit. You may also pray to the Lord in a number of ways, but all this is not going to help you destroy the bad ideas in your mind. To remove the bad ideas in your mind, the only thing that will help you to remove such bad ideas is Sajjana Sangam. That is good company. That is why it has been used in this verse. It is necessary to inquire what is good company and what is bad company. Wherever there is respect, wherever there is practice of Satya, Tyaga, Ahimsa, and Prema, that company would be referred to as good company. Today, here's a living example for you, which you can see for yourselves. You have come from different parts of the country. Your manner of living is different from one another. The desires which you have are individuals to yourself. Your own ambitions differ from one another. In that context, if all of you have come together to join one Samakots with a view to get sacred ideas, with a view to unite your ideas into something specific, learn from one another, whatever good each one is absorbing, that you are able to live together as one unit, this itself shows that it is a good company. Sometimes, when you are alone and when you are not in company, good ideas and sacred ideas are likely to be weakened in that individual. On the other hand, if you are in good company, the environment and the company that's around you, because they are good, they strengthen the sacred ideas that are in your mind. Here is an illustration. In this cloth, there are a number of threads. If you remove the thread and handle one of the threads in a separate way, it's quite easy to break it with 2 fingers. On the other hand, when the threads are all together and constitute the cloth, you cannot break this piece of cloth with any strength which you may use. You cannot succeed in tying up even a small ant. But if you take a blade of grass, on the other hand, you cannot succeed in tying up even a small ant if only you take a blade of grass. On the other hand, if you tie up all these pieces of grass or hay into a thick rope, you can use that rope and successfully tie up even an elephant. Either your bad qualities or your good qualities, they generally depend upon the society where you enter. Therefore, if you want to promote your good qualities, you must enter good society. Therefore, by good company, there's every chance and every opportunity by which you can promote your good ideas. by which you can promote good work, by which you can promote good actions on your part. The disciple of Shankara, in writing this verse, in the third line, he has established that for us, it is very essential to have good company. In the fourth line, it has been said that you should give charity and help by giving away your wealth to poor people. We may now ask a question, who deserves to be helped in that manner? Who need be given charity by way of money? The answer will be that those who are leading a family life, those who have needs to look after, they only deserve to be given such help. But sannyasis who do not need any wealth are not the persons who should be regarded as deserving such charity. Whatever you earn, you should set up apart something for your own future and for the good of your children. Afterwards, some portion of it should be given for good purposes, for charity and for helping others. In this way, you should be using your own wealth in a sacred manner. This is what is indicated in the fourth line. In order to establish and propagate the oneness of divinity, the only God, and in order to establish equality and unity among men, this has been explained in this verse. If we want to acquire these two good results, we will have to correct ourselves, make our heart pure, and fill it with prema. It's quite usual that in the tree of life of every man, the fruits of prema are abundantly present. When we attempt to enjoy these fruits and eat those fruits, we will note that there is an outer skin for these fruits, which is not sweet, but which is slightly bitter. Because the sweet essence in the fruit, this fragrant essence which tastes like honey, this is covered by this harsh and slightly bitter cover. We are not able to get this sweet juice readily and immediately. So first of all, we must recognize this outer cover. This outer cover is the various bad qualities like attachment, like lust, like anger, arrogance, jealousy, envy, and so on. First of all, we must remove this outer cover, and then only you can get at the sweet juice. The sacred prema is no doubt present in every person. However, each person puts this prema in many different ways and thereby weakens the strength of this prema. It also makes the faith in God become a little shaky and weak. Today, if our sankalpas or our desires are fulfilled, then our faith and devotion will get strong. On the other hand, if our desires are not fulfilled, then our devotion will become weaker and weaker. Such kind of devotion which becomes strong under some circumstances and which becomes weak under other circumstances is not true devotion. We must develop such devotion which will be steady, which will be deep, which will not change. Then only we will be able to understand this one divine thing which is present always. Because we are always putting our mind in the context of fulfilling our own desires, we lose the capacity to distinguish between good and bad. Having lost this capacity to distinguish between good and bad, sometimes we also feel a great many disappointments during our life. When our desire is fulfilled, you accept the presence of God. When your desires are not fulfilled, then you deny the existence of God. This kind of thing does not affect God at all. It is only the result of your own troubles and your own changing mind. This is not going to have anything to do with the truth of God. To give so much importance to individuals and to base our own conclusions on the fulfillment or otherwise of our desires, to affect even the truth and permanency of God Himself, this shows some weakness in man's assessment. while having all these bad desires in our mind, if at that time we go on performing sadhanas, we have darshan, sparshan, and sambhashan, yet our ideas are bad. This is not going to rectify and purify ourselves. There's a small story for this. An individual happened to become sick in many ways. The doctor decided that the main reason for all his sickness is indigestion. For curing his disease of indigestion, he took several medicines and changed several medicines from time to time. For a disease which has gone beyond control, it is difficult for any medicine to cure it. However, fortunately for him, a saint came his way and told him, I will give you a medicine which will temporarily relieve you of your indigestion. The saint told him to chew and suck the pieces of rock salt the whole day. By putting into practice this advice and taking the salt throughout the day, he felt that to some extent his disease of indigestion had been relieved. This person used to distribute a large number of sweets to the children on the festival of Deepavali. One day, this person got up in the morning, put a number of salt pieces in his pocket, put one in his mouth, and he was sucking the salt juice, and he went to purchase laddus from various shops. Each shop he went, he would ask for a specimen of laddu to see if it was good or bad. He would put it in his mouth, but because the mouth was full of salt, the laddu was tasting bad. He would say, no, this is not satisfactory. He would move on to the next shop. He would go on rejecting laddus like that. But one clever shopkeeper knew what was happening. He said, before I give you laddu for your taste, go to the tap and wash your mouth and come here. He went to the tap, washed his mouth and came back. He realized what happened. He ate the laddu and found that it was good and quite sweet. In the same manner, today, because of our mental distortions, because we are full of worldly desires, with that background, no matter what good company you enter or go and speak to any elder or go and see any divine personalities, what you feel is not the sacredness that is present in that company, but you only feel your own inner bad qualities, like your distortions and your worldly desires. It is not possible for you with that inner uncleanliness to see the sacredness that is present in good company. Therefore, first of all, clean your mind. After cleaning your mind, prepare yourself to enjoy the bliss of Atma. It is only then you can get the sacredness that is present either with the elders or with good company. It is in this context that the statement Yad Bhavam Tat Bhavati has come to be used. The kind of glasses you wear, whatever color those glasses have, the entire world will look to you as if it is having that color. The change is due to the color of your glasses. It is not the nature and the external world which is changing its color. Therefore, the ideas which you form about the elders whom you see are ideas which are generated and are emanating from you. They have nothing to do with the elders whom you look at. Similarly, if one eats something, whatever smell there is of what he has eaten will come in his own belching. If someone else eats something, you won't get the smell of what other person has eaten in your own belch. For this mind, there are two kinds of special pichi siddhantas, that means mad views. These two are having nothing at all, shunyatvam. The second is having the feeling of multiplicity, anekatvam. But the desired thing, which is oneness, ekatvam, is not coming to your mind. Moreover, when one joins good company, satsang, this mind becomes even much more distorted. It so happens that for many people, they do not deserve, they don't get the opportunity of imbibing good ideas by sitting in good company. What happens is, for some of them, Kumbhakarna goes on sending messages and they begin to sleep. On the other hand, there are others who pretend to listen to what is being said, but their mind is thinking of some business of theirs, or some house of theirs, or some family matters. There are others who keep on looking at the faces of other people sitting in the company and they pretend to listen. In this way, what is being told is absorbed by a very small minority of those who participate in good company. We travel so far, we have come from such long distances, and we sit in these assemblies. If we are not able to imbibe and listen to what is being said, we are wasting our time. We cannot really recognize our own responsibility. We will be wasting our wealth, our time, and our body. There was one Pandit who was explaining and expounding the Puranas. He undertook to do this for 7 days in the name of a Saptaha. At the time of this expounding of the Puranas, there was one woman whose husband died recently, and she used to come and sit right in the front line. Well, this Pandit was holding the text of Ramayana in his hand, and while he was expounding the contents of Ramayana, this woman would sit in the front row and tears would flow from her eyes. She was present like that from the beginning till the end, all the 7 days. Looking at this spectacle, this woman having tears flowing from her eyes, the Pandit thought that for all the 7 days she was one person who was listening with great devotion and attention. At the end of the 7 days, with that feeling, after the Purnahuti, he announced that there is one individual in the congregation who was listening all the time with great devotion, and first gave her the Tirtha of the Saptaha. This Pandit asked this woman to get up and answer his question. Has my Purana been good? Have you been happy? Are you satisfied? I found that you are listening to it with a devoted heart. Would you please tell me if you're happy with the way I have expounded the Purana? Immediately she replied that she did not know whether he was teaching Purana or Ramayana, or whatever text it is. Then he asked, how is it that I noticed that tears were flowing from your eyes? Were they not tears that indicating your concentration and devotion and your attention all the time? She replied, no, I had nothing to do with that, what you have been teaching. But I found there was a black thread at the back of the book you are holding. This black thread reminded me of the kind of black thread which my husband used to wear around his waist. Therefore, I have been all the time crying and shedding tears. Therefore, there are many such people in the world who are joining good company, who sit in good company, but all the time think of something else and have no attention whatsoever on what is happening in good company. The essence of all our Shastras, the essence of all that is taught to us in our traditions is nothing other than purity of mind, Chitta Shuddhi. You must recognize this. For such an individual who has purity of mind, he will see God as a good, pure reflection. In Dwaraka, there was a very reputed painter. Because his reputation had spread all over the country, he developed an amount of ego. When one gets such an ego, he will not undertake to see what is good and what is not good. He said to himself, I have earned all the reputation I wish to earn. I have traveled all around the country. There's only one thing which I have not done. That is to go to Lord Krishna, paint his picture and get his approbation. One day he got an appointment with Krishna. On that day, he started with all his medals and certificates tied up on a big donkey load. He went to the house of Krishna. Krishna was an Antarvasi who can see the inside of every being. He understood what idea this man had in his mind. Immediately he asked him, "What brings you here? What is your task?" This painter replied, saying, "In my life, I have no other ambition. I have only one ambition. Please help me realize my ambition. I wish to prepare a painting of you. If only you can sit quiet for 10 minutes. I will take your outline, then I will go home and I will fill the outline and produce a painting which is exactly like you in a week's time at my house." He worked hard night and day. He prepared this painting. After a week, he took this painting, covered it with a white cloth, went to Krishna's house and said, "Lord, your painting is ready. I would like you to look at the painting." When he removed the cover of the white cloth, it was found that the painting was quite different from the real Krishna. The painter himself was surprised at the lack of likeness between the two. After that, he said, "I will go back and bring it again the next day." Like that, 5, 6 attempts he made and found that there was no likeness at all between the painting and the Lord. He was ashamed and left the place himself. He could not show his face. Therefore, one night he started with the desire of leaving that village and going away to some other place. Halfway, Narada met him. This nature of Narada is such that if you attract him and invite him to yourself by giving 1 naya paisa, after that, you cannot get rid of him, even by paying 400 rupees. Narada is also a Trikala Jnani. He knows what is happening at all times. He knew what has happened. He asked the painter, "What is it? Where are you going?" He told the painter, "You seem to be a mad fellow. You want to paint Lord Krishna? Krishna is one who changes his appearance every minute. He's changing all the time. He is fresh every moment. How did you expect to paint such a one who goes on changing from time to time? If you really want to paint Krishna and get his approbation, I will tell you how to do it. I have a plan, which I shall indicate to you, whereby you can achieve success." He whispered something into the painter's ear. This painter went to Dwaraka. He took for his basis this whisper of Narada. Along with Narada, he went with his painting and put a white cloth on the painting and told Krishna, "I have brought your painting." He put his painting right in front of Krishna, opened the fresh white cloth. It was only a clean mirror. Whatever shape you take, Krishna, that shape will appear now in this mirror as a painting. If therefore, as in the story, you are imagining that God is like this, God is like that, and so on, this is not going to be successful, because the true form of God is something which you cannot attempt to describe. You will always be unsuccessful. Instead of doing this, it's much better that we make our mind clean and clear. And in this mirror of our clean and clear mind, we can always get God's reflection and get his true form imprinted in us. If we want our mind to turn into a sacred mirror, it will be possible to do so with the help of prema and with devotion, bhakti, which is full of faith, shraddha. If therefore we want to have this sacred mirror promoted by prema, we can have it. This was the case with the Gopikas, with Jayadeva, with Gauranga. They had such a sacred mirror of prema. Not only that, Gauranga was given this name because he was white colored. He had white colored skin. His original given name was Gauranga. However, he was so devoted. When the name of Krishna was mentioned, he used to lose consciousness and get immersed in Krishna. That is why he was also called Krishna Chaitanya. You must have such intense prema in your heart, which will enable you to even forget your body. That should be the intensity of prema in your heart. You should also believe that the same God whom you wish to worship is present in all other jivas. It is by such a good and noble thought that we'll be able to slowly and steadily improve our own notion of divinity. It is not possible to change all of a sudden. We'll have to go step by step and slowly to do this sadhana. I hope you'll be able to do this. So that was Swami's discourse explaining the import of these words of Shankara during the summer course. This is the 29th discourse during that summer course. So I will stop here. If there are any questions on what we studied, and if I have some answer, I will share with you. So,
Sairam uncle.
yes, Kavya.
The line about Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam. So it's saying that we should be carrying our minds on the company of good people. I'm trying to understand the word carrying, in what context that comes here.
See, Nayati also means fetching. Okay.
Okay.
So our chittam also is like it contains water, that's also prema, you understand. So, there are many levels. That's why Swami has talked about prema also here. That is the water with which you cleanse. So in the good company, you will be able to carry this prema. You see, that's why Swami says everyone has a love in their heart. So in Chittam, there is already love. But this love will remain and can be used only when in the good company. Swami also uses a word, sees, another discourse. I think in 1984, one of the Gita discourses, he is giving this analogy that many of you come to Prashanthi Nilayam. When you come here, you are full of devotion. So your body is like a pot, and you pour water in it, the prema water in it, and fill it. And then you go home. But what happens when you go home and leave it? It all evaporates from the pot. And then you are lost. Whatever you filled here is gone. The world, if you just put, it will just dry up the love which you have collected here. So he says, but if this pot of water is taken home and immersed in another large vessel of water, in a pond or something, that water will remain unevaporated. So whatever is contained in our chittam, if we want to retain that not being evaporated, you should be always surrounded by sajjan. So it is like other pots also with the same water. If they all around, the water will not be spent. So we are fetched. So you go. That is why even in the ancient times also, people used to do a pilgrimage in a group. With sangam. So they will all go and come back together, so that you will be able to retain what you have gone to collect. So the chitte neya means that is the way you should carry the water in the chittam, or water in the solution of love in your chittam. So Swami says, always surround yourself with good thoughts, good company, which is also similar. And that way you can retain. So that is the meaning I understand. I hope that answers.
Thank you. Is there also a meaning in Telugu for the word vihanga?
Vihanga actually is, vihasa means wind, space. So ga means to go. Anything which flies in space is vihanga. Okay. So the bird which flies in the space of, in our heart is also hridaya akasha. So we should carry the Lord. He will travel in that space. So our the animality, pashu, is transformed into vihanga, which is pure, which is like Hamsa. Hamsa means itself is pure, which can distinguish what is bad and good. So there are many meanings even in each of those vahanas. Vrishabha is also means the best. Hamsa is then Garuda. Swami is Garuda, he flies. So each of these vahanas means something. That means Swami says that the animality is turned into divinity, and then the Lord will travel in that animal, which is born as an animal but which has become divine. That will become the vahana of the Lord.
Okay.
So that answers. Anything else? Any more questions? I know I thought a couple of hands went up and then went down. So maybe it's questions have been answered.
Just one more question about the Pichi Siddhantas. So
Yes.
Anekatvam is like when our mind is thinking of many, many things. Is that right?
We see the multiplicity. Our mind is, one is shunyatva. That means emptiness. There's nothing, zero. So that is also not so good in the sense anything can get filled in that mind. Okay, we sort of reject everything. That is shunya. Anekatva means multiplicity. You see the many. You don't see the one. So that means your mind is going after the external world. But Swami says in this multiplicity you should find the unity. I think that's the way I understand. So Siddha Anta means the you can say our mind is Siddha Anta means end of conclusion. Siddhanta means end of your study. That's what you achieve at the end. So that is Siddhanta, which also means philosophy. So our mind has certain philosophies, beliefs with which we function in this world. So Swami is saying, don't have shunyatam, that is thinking there's no God, nothing in this world exists, everyone dies. That's also not good. Then think everything is different. That is also not good. This is the two tendencies of the mind. But see the one in everything, which is the divine, which is Sripati. I think that's the way I understand. I hope that's okay.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Sister Aruna.
Brother, I know we were studying that good company. At the same time, according to the story, that lady is sitting, even though she is with good company, at the end, your mind's supposed to be pure kind of only Swami is ending up, right? So I was just thinking about that, and I was thinking because Swami brought it a good company, and wow. So at the end, it's individually only you have to progress, kind of. Am I right?
So the Swami is saying, sister, we should not be swayed by external appearances.
External appearance, but
Of anyone.
company
Swami is
or
saying, even if you go to a temple or anywhere, there are people of all kinds.
yeah.
So it is knowing what to be associated with is the most important thing. If the association turns into something worldly focused, then even within a place like a center or pilgrim place or anywhere, then you are not going to benefit from the satsang. So it's a warning.
It's a warning, yeah.
It's a warning to use our discrimination to know whether the company is taking us towards the world or not. I think that's all matters.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So just we don't take it for granted. Just because people are coming for a good activity, it's all good company. What are they involved in? Are there bad qualities coming out? Swami has already said, what are the things, how do you know what is Sajjana? Also, he has said. Good, what is Swami? I think here only Swami is saying. the bad desires in our mind, performing sadhana, that's, see, like, if there's anger, arrogance, jealousy, lust, any of these qualities are seen, then that is good, not good company. I mean, we should not dwell on it. We should not think about it. We should not meditate on it. I think that's the whole idea, because we will, in this world, even otherwise, we will encounter these things. We should avoid this. That's the way I understand systems.
Yeah. So the discrimination is the power of everything, kind
So
of.
the activity in which we are engaged, the topics which we discuss, all this will determine whether a company is good or not.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Brother Vimalesan.
Sairam. No, I just I want to know. No, all these stanzas, the Bhaja Govindam, the name itself, and many other songs like Bhagavad Gita, Kinjidadida, and so on, all directly means, Bhagavad Gita, I mean, Krishna, worship, and all that. I don't think anywhere the reference to Shiva or like that. But for in this stanza and in the Swami's discourse, he has. I understand from what you have read, all those to even for Sripati, Swami gives the explanation for Sripati and Brahma Vishnu, all those and explanations. Is Swami suggesting or wants us to, though these forms and these worships have values, we should try to go beyond that to recognize the formless and nameless, or does that Swami is urging us to do that? Or because in some public discourse also Swami has said that even Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, all your imagination. The later discourse in public discourse also he has said. So I just want to know your opinion on what I'm asking. I hope you understand my question.
Yeah, I understand, brother. See, sometimes, as long as we are human beings and our mind is active, our mind is going to contemplate on something. As long as we are wise, we will look at forms. As long as ears are there, we will hear names. So the name and form will exist as long as we live as a human being. So we have forced to purify them. You need to have a form on which you focus, a form on which you meditate. So the form is essential. But I think based on what my understanding is, that what Swami is saying is, don't differentiate between the forms. Don't think Shiva is different from Vishnu. Vishnu is different from Brahma. Know that they're all different forms of the same Lord.
Right.
One Pati. But the thing is, the whole problem is, I worship Shiva, you worship Krishna. I mean, we think there are two individuals.
Right.
So going beyond the form, going beyond limiting the Lord to the form. We can still think of Swami. See, I think the whole problem is when you go to Ganesha temple, do you have to meditate on Ganesha and then, we are not worship Shiva, Shiva may get upset and then go and worship Shiva. That is a limited understanding from which we should transcend.
Oh, okay.
That is transcending the form. It's not that giving up the form. To completely two different things. Many people, actually, even in Sathya Sai organizations, people have got confused with some of these concepts because form is essential. As long as a human being exists, there's a form. If you're going to look at another person and speak, that means you are recognizing another form. So the form is essential, but we should transcend from the form means
Right.
you should see the essence within, and you should see that essence spans everything in this world.
Right. So
And
with that clear understanding deep down, then we can go on worship
Yes.
any form and name and that.
One form. The Swami says you should pick one form with which you can connect, and that's good enough. And you should have the total confidence that form represents every energy, every other form in this world. It represents every other name in this world. And when the other name is said also, you find the name which you are attached in that name also.
Okay.
That is transcending the name.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the way.
Okay. Thank
so
you.
that- You're welcome to the side. Yes, Kalyani.
Sorry, Uncle. Just one more thing I want to clarify. When Swami is saying Shri, the word Shri is used to add or give some sacredness to things which are not sacred. So meaning that so Krishna and Rama, because they took a body and because the body is not sacred, is that why we use the word Shri?
Yeah, so the thing is, what Swami is, I don't think the translation came out very clearly what Swami was saying. Swami says, the Shri will remind you of the inner essence, which is auspicious and which is permanent. The form, which is a human form. See, so there are two kinds of forms which we worship in this world. Like Shiva, Vishnu, those forms no one has seen. People have imagined, but no one has physically seen a form. But Rama and Krishna, physical forms which were in this world. So there was no problem with Shiva. Shiva is just essence. You are picturing something, but you're referring to that thing which is beyond the form. That's why so Shiva, Vishnu, we don't have to use the word Shri because by the word nature of that word, they are divine. They are beyond the human realm. Though we give human forms to them also, but they all imagined. But in the case of Rama and Krishna, they were physically on the earth. And so people can question, oh, that is another human being. Why do you think that human being is God? So because of that, the word Shri is used to indicate the divinity embodied by that person, which that person was able to express. To recognize that, the word appellation Shri is added. There are a few other discourses, actually Swami has discussed this. And I think so in that context, one place Swami said, even me, this form, you should say Sri Sathya Sai because you're addressing a form which is also going to perish, which will not be there. It's impermanent. But when you say Sri, you recognize the fact this the essence contained in the body is what we are referring to. That's my understanding.
Thank you, Uncle.
Sister.
Just one more last question, please. The mirror, the person is showing, the painter is showing to the Krishna. What does that symbolize? Is the your mind change or the Lord change? So what is we have to learn from that? That is something very much, there's an in-depth meaning for that. So that's what I would like to understand.
So once the mind is fully cleansed of everything, there is not a single thought. So anything you see in this world is...
So what you would see in the mirror then?
You will see, if you see a tree, you will see the tree. But you will see the tree as an embodiment of the Lord. You go into Ganesha, a temple, you will see the Ganesha as is. And the only relationship with that is just love. You recognize Krishna can take any of these forms.
So you love everything, kind of.
Not love everything externally. You love the Krishna which shows up in that form. You only love Krishna which shows up in this form and knowing that this form also can change tomorrow.
Okay.
So that is the way to see divinity in everyone. So Swami is saying until you cleanse your mind from all thoughts, you really cannot see the divinity in another person. Anything in sense. We can tell, oh, Swami is everywhere. I am experiencing Swami. The question is the mind fully cleansed of all thoughts? Neither good nor bad, no thought. Completely
In that
clean.
case, you won't see anything in the mirror then.
Pardon?
You have no thoughts, nothing. So what are you going to see in the mirror?
So the thing is, anything which comes and goes, the mirror will remain clean. Anything which shows up, you will at that point you will see divinity, and then it will change. Something else may be reflected. That will also be divinity. So you are not going to hold on to any thought. Is what I
So
understand.
you have to go beyond the form, kind of, right? Is that the?
That is beyond a particular form.
Yes, yes.
Particular form.
Okay, thank you.
But until you reach that point, a form is needed.
Okay.
Okay, Sai. Because if you don't have one form you're focusing on, all the forms will be appearing in that with negative qualities. You like some people, attach some people, angry with some people. I think that's my understanding. That's why Swami in the last sentence, he says it cannot be achieved one day. He said it is not possible to change all of a sudden. We will have to go step by step.
Okay.
See, so this last paragraph tells you should also believe that the same God whom you wish to worship is present in all the other jivas. It is by such good and noble thought that we will be able to slowly and steadily improve our own notion of divinity. It is not possible to change all of a sudden. We will have to go step by step and slowly do this sadhana. I hope you'll be able to do this. Okay, so I hope that answers. So I will.
Sarah Uncle, just one last thing. So I'm saying Shri versus Shri Pati, so when we say Shri Rama and Shri Krishna, because they have a human body, we're calling them Shri. But Shri Pati, is that the actual essence in them?
That which is, that's why in some, I don't know, in one, I think Anil Kumar, I think, so once somebody, Swami asked, who am I? So he said, Swami, you are Shiva, Vishnu, Maheshwar. Then Swami said, they are all my employees. I'm beyond that. So that which is unmanifest is Sripati.
So even though we call Swami Shri Sathya Sai Baba, actually, Swami himself is not the Shri, like he's Shri Pati, like he's beyond that.
The essence is there's Sri. Swami expresses. Rama express certain auspiciousness, okay, which the divinity, but that is also limited in that sense. The Pati is the ocean from which actually this came about, which descended in a container.
Okay.
So for example, you go and we fill a vessel with clean water and come, so that is Sri. As long as the water is very clean, you drink, you will get all benefits. But the ocean is the Pati.
Okay.
Okay, so that is no limitation, unlimited form. That's the way I understand.
Thank you.
Saira. Okay, there's somebody put a comment. Saira. So we'll close the session with Shanti Samataloka. Oh. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Samastaloka sukhino bhavantu. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sairam, everyone.